All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're plugging into the world of Adani Energy Solutions.
Formerly Adani Transmission. They've had quite the rebrand.
Exactly. And, their Q2 FY25 results are out. Got their investor presentation right here. And you were smart enough to snag the investor call recording, too.
Got to get the full picture right. Numbers tell one story, the tone, the pauses. That's where the real insights hide.
Love that. Okay, so bottom line, good quarter for them or what?
Oh, good. Doesn't even cut it. Revenue up 23% year over year. That's 4,217 crore. But hold on to your hats, profits skyrocketed.
Skyrocketed how much? Don't leave me hanging.
172% jump.
Ah.
773 crore. This isn't just growth, it's their strategy clicking into place.
And speaking of strategy, their transmission network expansion is seriously impressive. Like, just this quarter, they added another 140 kilometers.
I mean, they're total too.
A whopping 23,269 kilometers. That's like enough to circle Australia, the whole continent.
It's not just about the kilometers, though, right?
Oh,
It's
no.
where they're building those 3 new transmission projects, the ones worth 10,300 crore.
The ones in Gujarat and the Mundra region, yeah, those are prime locations.
Exactly. Think about India's renewable energy push, especially solar. Adani's right there, ready to transmit that power.
Talk about being in the right place at the right time. Okay, so on top of the transmission growth, let's not forget their smart meter initiative.
Oh, you mean the one that had those initial hiccups?
Yeah, but they seem to have overcome those hurdles. I mean, they're aiming for 45 lakh smart meters by the end of FY25.
Ambitious, sure. But on that investor call, the CEO, he was confident, talking about installations hitting 16,000 to 20,000 meters per day.
Whoa, that's a game changer. Not just for billing efficiency, but for integrating those renewable energy sources we were talking about.
Exactly.
It's wild to think this company that started with just transmission lines is now becoming this comprehensive energy solution provider.
And a big piece of that puzzle is their move into what they call C&I power solutions, commercial and industrial, basically.
So they're going after the big businesses now.
Think even bigger. Data centers. Those guys need power, and they need it reliable. Adani's not just promising the juice. They're talking about managing the whole power supply chain.
Now that's thinking big picture, but how are they even planning to pull that off? Isn't the Indian power market like notoriously complex?
Tell me about it. But that's where this gets interesting. They actually secured an interstate energy trading license.
Yeah.
Gives them the flexibility to source power strategically, even across state lines.
So they're like the energy concierges for these massive data centers. Love it. And it looks like their strategy is attracting some serious players that deal with Google, right?
Yep, powering their data centers in Noida.
That's a pretty strong endorsement, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Shows that they're not just playing in the energy world, they're aiming to lead it. And that kind of ambition takes serious financial firepower. So naturally, I dug into their debt situation.
Always thinking ahead. So are they drowning in debt with all these massive projects?
Surprisingly, no. Their net debt-EBITDA ratio is around 3.1x, which is manageable, even with heavy investment. But it's the breakdown of that debt that's intriguing. They've shifted massively towards long-term debt.
How long-term are we talking here?
Okay, so back in FY16, only 12% of their debt matured after 5 years. Now, that number's up to 70%.
Wow, talk about a long game. But why the big shift?
Locking in those lower interest rates now basically safeguards them against any future market hiccups.
Smart, right?
Seriously smart. It's like they're playing chess while everyone else is stuck on checkers.
Yeah.
But they're not putting all their eggs in one basket, are they? Funding-wise, I mean...
Not a chance. They've got a mix of rupee loans, domestic bonds, even international bonds. It's about having options.
Diversity is key, as they say.
Yeah.
But it's not just about diversifying, is it? They've been playing it pretty Saudi with those U.S. dollar bonds, haven't they?
Oh, absolutely. Tapping into those potentially lower interest rates compared to what's available here in India. Plus, they've hedged their bets against currency swings. Calculated risk, for sure, but so far, it's working out for them. Seems like they've got this knack for strategic financial maneuvering. But it's not all about the bottom line with Adani, is it? They've been pretty vocal about this whole ESG thing.
It's not just talk, either. They're aiming for net water positive status across all their sites, meaning they want to replenish more water than they consume.
Which, in a water-stressed place like India, that's a big deal.
Huge. And it's not just the environmental side either. They're putting serious effort into social initiatives. Think education, healthcare, even empowering women, creating sustainable livelihoods.
It's always good to see a company that understands that progress isn't just about profits, it's about people too.
Exactly. And they've got those ambitious goals, like hitting 60% renewable energy use in their own operations by FY27, becoming a zero waste to landfill company.
They're not just setting the bar, they're raising it for the whole industry.
And then there's their decision to divest from that Dahanu thermal power station, the coal-fired one.
Wow, that's a big statement, walking away from a traditional energy source like that.
It speaks volumes about their commitment to a cleaner energy future. They're putting their money where their mouth is, and that's not something you see every day, especially in the energy sector.
It's clear Adani Energy Solutions is playing a different game, not just generating profits, but trying to power a more sustainable and equitable future. And with their track record, I'm definitely intrigued to see what they do next.
Me too, because this is a company that's rewriting the rules, and they're doing it with an eye on both the bottom line and a brighter future.
Now, that's something worth paying attention to. Speaking of paying attention, we've covered a lot of ground here, but let's take a step back for a moment and think about the bigger picture. How might Adani's journey, their successes, their challenges, how might all that influence the energy landscape, not just in India, but globally? We'll unpack that thought-provoking question right after this.
All right, so we're back, and I feel like we need to connect the dots here. We've got Adani Energy Solutions making these bold moves, but how does it all add up? How are they actually shaping the energy scene in India, would you say? It's fascinating, isn't it? It's like they've created this loop, this positive feedback loop. They've got the financial strength, so they invest in things like renewables, smart tech, all that good stuff.
Which in turn boosts their whole ESG profile, attracts more investors.
Exactly. It keeps the momentum going. It's not just good business, it's positioning them at the forefront of India's whole energy transition.
They're not just talking about a greener future, they're actually building it piece by piece.
And they're not just building it for others. Remember how we were talking about Adani working with other Adani Group companies? Like supplying energy solutions for their cement business, their ports, even edible oils.
Right. It's like they've become the energy experts within their own little empire.
Precisely. And that's smart for a couple reasons. One, it gives them a testing ground for those C&I solutions. They can work out the kinks, refine their offerings before taking them to the open market.
Like a dress rehearsal before the big show.
Exactly. And two, it's instant credibility for potential clients. What better way to convince someone you can handle their energy needs than to point at what you've already done within your own group?
Built-in testimonials, basically. Plus, let's be real, having those big Adani names in your portfolio doesn't hurt either.
Not one bit. It shows they can handle big, complicated projects. But here's the thing that's often missed, this internal collaboration. It actually incentivizes the other Adani businesses to adopt those greener practices.
So it's not just about Adani Energy Solutions being green, it's about making the whole Adani Group more sustainable from within.
Exactly. By offering these tailored green energy solutions, they're making it easier and probably more cost-effective for other Adani companies to lower their carbon footprint.
Talk about putting your money where your mouth is. It's one thing to talk about sustainability. It's another thing to actually make it happen within your own business empire.
And don't forget the social responsibility angle. We talked about their work with communities, education, healthcare, women's empowerment. That's all part of it too.
It's honestly refreshing to see a company that gets it. Progress isn't just about the bottom line. It's about uplifting the communities where they operate.
And let's be practical. That kind of social responsibility, it's not just good karma. It's good business sense.
Oh, absolutely. Building that goodwill, that trust within those communities, it makes for a much smoother, more stable operating environment in the long run.
Exactly. Now, on top of all that, they're not shying away from transparency either. That robust ESG framework we discussed, their clear targets, the fact that they're open about their progress, it all matters.
And they've got that corporate responsibility committee, right? Stacked with independent directors, keeping an eye on those ESG efforts.
It shows they're serious about walking the walk, not just talking the talk. So where do they go from here? They've got the financial power, the vision, the commitment to sustainability.
The million-dollar question is, what's next?
Right. Will they actually become the leaders of India's clean energy revolution? Will everyone else try to copy their C&I model? And maybe the most important question, will all of this push other big players to up their ESG game?
Now, that is a thought-provoking question, because ultimately, Adani Energy Solutions is kind of rewriting the rules of the game here.
They're showing that you can aim for both, a healthy bottom line and a healthier planet.
And that's definitely something worth watching closely. Speaking of watching closely, let's zoom out a bit. We've talked a lot about Adani's journey, but what does it tell us about the bigger picture? Could their model be the key to a global energy shift? We'll tackle that very question right after this.
All right, so we're back. And I got to say, zooming out like this, it really puts things in perspective. We've been deep in the Adani world. But how does their story, their whole approach, how does that fit into the global energy picture? It's the question, isn't it? Like what Adani's doing in India right now, it's like a little preview of what the whole world's got to figure out with energy. Growing demand, ditching fossil fuels, and making sure it's all done responsibly.
And let's not forget, doing it all while still making money. Because Adani's showing that sustainability and profitability aren't mutually exclusive.
Exactly. That's a powerful message. And it's not just for India. Investors everywhere are getting more and more ESG focused. Companies that can walk the walk, be sustainable and profitable, they've got the edge.
It's like they're setting a new standard, one that other companies, especially in the energy sector, they can't just ignore.
Right. Imagine if Adani's whole playbook, the renewables, the smart tech, the whole social responsibility bit, imagine if that became the norm. That's a future worth fighting for.
A future where sustainable, reliable energy isn't some luxury, it's the expectation. And businesses, they're not just using energy, they're part of building a better system.
And the thing is, Adani's story's not over yet,
Yeah.
right? They're still evolving, still pushing the boundaries. Who knows what they'll accomplish in the next 5, 10, 20 years?
That's what makes it so exciting. They're giving us a glimpse of what could be. But now it's on us, everyone really, investors, citizens, the whole world we have, to demand that same ambition, that commitment from every player in the energy game.
Because this shift to a cleaner, more sustainable energy future, it's not just about tech. It's not just about infrastructure.
It's about changing the way we think about energy. Right?
Exactly. We're all in this together. And the choices we're making right now, that's what's going to determine the world we leave behind.
Yeah. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive into Adani Energy Solutions, I think that's a pretty powerful thought to leave us with.
Absolutely.
Stay curious about the future of energy because it's a conversation that affects us all.